London children. We're here on a status hearing. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the children. Ms. Kincaid is with us representing the mother, Ms. Lopez, who is with us, and Mr. McClendon is also with us. That accounts for all the parties. I have Nutri Angriani in the waiting room.
Thank you, Your Honor. The department calls Nurti Agraini as its witness. And it's their mother, Alyssa Lopez.
Yes.
And their father, Jonathan McClendon.
Yes.
Okay, great. You prepared a status report to the court, and it was filed on January 26th of 2024. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we ask that the court take judicial notice of that court report.
So noted, and I have read that report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nurti, are all three children currently placed separately?
Yes, correct.
Do they remain in the placements that are identified in the court report?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get some details on how Jolis is doing in that placement?
Yes, Jolis is doing well in placement.
I need details, though. Can you give me details, please?
Okay, yeah. He's in a group home at the moment and with the same age in a group home. And he's doing really well. And he is now attending school, pre-K. And every day he is looking forward to go to school. And then actually there is so I think Jolie's is doing well in placement and get along with the kids and stuff. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Is he also in play therapy with Delois Hinders?
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
And is he also prescribed an iron supplement to help with an iron deficiency?
Not Jolie's. That's the other kid. There's another
okay.
Kid. Yes.
Which child was prescribed the iron supplement?
It's for the King. For King.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's for Jonathan Jr. actually.
So Jonathan Jr. has the iron supplement prescribed. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, as far as King, he continues in his foster home in Lubbock, Texas. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can I please get some details on how he is doing in the placement?
Yes. Also, King is 1 second. He's also attending daycare. Oh, early Head Start. I'm sorry, ma'am. He is attending early Head Starts, and also he's doing well in placement, really bonded with the foster parents. And he's happy that he is in school every day.
Great. Thank you, Nurse.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on with my sound today. I'll sit back a little.
Okay.
Nurti, can I also get some details on how Jonathan Jr. is doing in his foster home in Lubbock, Texas?
Yeah, Jonathan Jr. is also doing well. He got the iron deficiency, but also he's up to date with the medication, immunization, I'm sorry. But yeah, he's really bonded in a foster home, and he's really happy there.
Now, other than the iron deficiency, were there any other medical concerns for the children?
No.
Okay. And did they do well at their dental checkups as well?
Yes.
Thank you, Nurti.
Yes.
Are the parents visiting the children?
Yes.
How are Alyssa's visits with the children going?
Alyssa's visit is currently pending to the bond restrictions. And the dad is regularly visit the kids once a week, every week. Yes.
And so is it correct that Ms. Lopez was charged with endangerment to a child and there are bond restrictions against her contact with children?
Yes.
Okay. And is Mr. McClendon visiting his children?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you let us know how those are going?
So far I had a report from the family support worker that the visit's been good. The kids are coming to see, mostly the siblings are well each other, so they're looking forward for the visit every week. But yeah, there's a little bit difficulties with Mr. McClendon because he's being aggressive.
Now,
And-
Nerky, let me ask you a clarifying
Yes.
question. When you say Mr. McClendon is being aggressive, is he being aggressive during the visit?
With other worker, not with the kids. With the kids, that he's okay. He's good.
Okay,
bonded.
but
Yeah.
it sounds like there's some personal relationship conflict with the other worker. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you please explain what's going on with that?
I don't know exactly the whole thing about the story, but he's being difficult to work with other worker.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, did you prepare service plans for both Jonathan McClendon and Alyssa Lopez?
Come again, ma'am?
Did you prepare service plans for Jonathan
Yes.
McClendon? Okay,
Yes.
let me ask the question in full before you answer, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Did you prepare service plans for Alyssa Lopez and Jonathan McClendon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And are those service plans the department's reasonable effort to reunify the family?
Yes.
Are they tailored to the issues in this case?
Yes.
Would you agree the issues in the case are marijuana use, domestic violence, and child neglect?
Yes.
Are these service plans uniquely tailored for each parent?
Yes.
Can you give me one or two services that are uniquely tailored for Alyssa Lopez?
Alyssa Lopez service plan, one of them is trying to gainful, an employment. So gainful employment for Alyssa, and then to attend parenting class, attend rehab. 1 second. Complete OSAR appointment and assessment, and participate and complete parenting class, and also randomized drug screen, individual counseling and psychosocial appointment, and that she will be in a professional behavior therapy class. And then one class is really important for the domestic violence is Women Against Violence, or WAVE program.
Okay,
Yes,
so with the issues in the case, would you agree that the Women Against Violence program is uniquely tailored for Ms. Lopez?
Yes, correct.
Okay, would you also agree that the OSAR assessment that is a substance abuse assessment is also uniquely tailored for Ms. Lopez?
Correct, ma'am. Yes.
All right. Now, regarding Jonathan McClendon, can you name 2 or 3 services for him that are uniquely tailored?
Okay. The first that uniquely tailored is the Battering Intervention and Prevention Program, the BIP program. Also the OSAR assessment and the parenting class, individual counseling,
Okay.
and
Now,
psychosocial. Yes, ma'am.
would you agree, or rather, has Alyssa Lopez reviewed the plan?
Yes.
Okay. Did you go over that plan with her?
Yes.
Okay. And did she indicate that she understood it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, did you go over the plan with Mr. McClendon?
I did not have any reply from Mr. McClendon when I sent the plan to his email, so I don't know.
So you made attempts to review that plan with Mr. McClendon, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And was he responsive to those attempts?
No.
Okay. Now, regarding Alyssa Lopez, did she sign her service plan?
Yes.
And did Mr. McClendon sign his service plan to your knowledge?
No.
Now, you understand, you agreed that Ms. Lopez had been arrested recently, is that correct?
Yes.
We've already talked about that. Are we asking for any drug screens to be ordered by the court today for both parents?
The court, I mean, the drug screen was done in January, but yeah, I will request again for
Okay.
this month. Yes.
And are you asking for urinalysis drug screens on both Alyssa and Jonathan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the prior drug screens, those were both positive for marijuana for both parents. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. Now, Nerti, there was a home study that appears to have been denied on Peggy Newman. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to very briefly explain why that was denied?
In that home, there is I think we just found out that there was a registered sex offender living in the home. So that's why the home study got denied.
Okay. And were there other concerns?
Not at this moment.
Okay. Pass the witness.
Ms. Kincaid?
Thank you, Your Honor. Has Ms. Lopez been cooperative with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Has she stayed in contact with you?
Yes.
Okay, and is she beginning to work her services at this time?
Yes.
Okay, and now the recent arrest, was that as a result of what occurred during the removal?
Yes.
Okay, and so the only reason she's not attending visits is because it's a bond restriction. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and if she were to get that resolved, however, you know, her other attorney handles that, she would be able to resume her visits if that bond restriction was removed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but until that time, her visits will be suspended as a result of that other court order, right?
Yes.
Okay. Has Mr. McClendon been cooperative with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. How does he communicate with you?
It's very limited communication.
Okay. And has he, in those communications, has he ever held himself out or communicated with you through a phone number that may or may not be Elisa's or Miss Lopez?
No.
Has he communicated to you through an email address that looks like it's Miss Lopez's?
No.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass witness.
All right, Mr. Inger?
No questions.
All right, Mr. McClendon, any questions?
Yes, sir. Nerthy, you testified that I am being difficult with you. Will you specify for the court what that means, the difficulty?
Yeah. You're difficult to work with and to cooperate with how to respond in a text message and email and the service plan that I sent you. That's what is so difficult.
Okay. Did I respond to any of those emails or text messages?
Not to the email that I sent you about the service plan. No.
Did I respond to your text messages?
Yes, you did.
And in those text messages, will you specify what was difficult to deal with me on?
It's a lot.
That's not very specific.
Yeah, sometimes I ask you a question and then you ask me another question, so then it's like not to the point that you answer.
To your knowledge, is that any way damaging to our case or proceedings we have with one another?
Yeah, and then you also told me that we cannot work this way because I don't agree of what your question or something like that. So yeah, we are not in agreement. That's what you told me.
Okay. Have you ever asked me personal questions that have nothing to do with our involvement with one another on this case?
No, and then you also told me that you are wanting me not to ask personal questions, which I did not. ask
Let me
personal
interrupt,
questions.
excuse me, let me interrupt both of you. This is a status hearing. We're here to talk about the services for the parents, none of this other stuff. So, Mr.
Yes.
McClendon, limit your questions to anything that has to do with your service plan.
Yes, sir. This direct, all of this has to do with my service plan because
No, it
she
doesn't,
absolutely,
sir. Excuse me. We're not going to play this game every time we have a hearing. If you have questions about services in your service plan, you can ask her. Nothing about whether you two can get along or not.
well, I haven't asked that, Your Honor.
Yes, you have,
Oh,
sir. That's all you've
I've
asked
been,
so far. Now, listen,
I've asked her to
we're not doing
specify.
this. Mr. McClendon,
Okay.
this is your one and only warning today. You ask questions about your service plan. Otherwise, that's all we're here to discuss today are the
Yes,
service
yes, sir.
plans.
Yes, sir. I still reserve the right not to be intimidated by the court.
I don't care what you reserve. Just get
I
on
know.
with your
I
questions
understand.
about the
I
service
understand. I just
plan.
wanted to state that. I just wanted to state that.
All right,
So
one
you,
more interruption, and I'm going to mute you, and you will not be allowed to ask another question. We are not going to do this every time we have a hearing.
yes, sir.
Move on. Move on.
Nerty, do you know how much Jolise weighs?
All right, I'm going to interrupt again. That has nothing to do with the services contained in your service plan.
Okay, Nerty, do you know that my service plan isn't signed?
No,
Have you reached out to me to find out if that service plan is signed?
yes,
In what manner?
email and text message.
Can you produce those for the court if need be?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. If Mr. McClendon wants something in evidence, he needs to handle that on his own.
Sustained.
Okay, as I have, by my own account of recollection, received not one email
Your Honor,
regarding
I'm
my
going to
service
object
plan.
to form. This doesn't.
This is
sound
a
like
part of my
for
question.
Murphy.
I couldn't hear either one of you. You're talking over each other.
I object to form, Your Honor.
Overrule. Go ahead, Mr. McClendon.
Okay, as I have not received the email from you, I'm wanting to know how it is, I want to know how you would have known or how you will go about finding out if my service plan is understood and signed.
Yeah, I sent it to your email and Riley something. I can check again. Let me see.
Okay, and have you made an effort to schedule a date to go over this service plan with me?
You didn't answer me. If you received or not.
Did you receive a call from me anytime last week or this morning?
Yes, I was in the meeting.
Okay.
And that's not about the service plan. No.
I'm gonna ask if you are sure it wasn't about the service plan when you couldn't answer the call.
No, it's not the service.
Again, I'm gonna ask if you were sure that I was not calling about the service plan when you were not able to answer that call.
No.
Okay, that's all I have. That's the only thing I can ask about is the service plan.
Okay, then that's all you need to ask then. All right, then, Mr. Ingram, anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Gutierrez, any further questions for your witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Quick follow-ups. Nerti, are there any other relatives that either parent has named for another home study?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is that?
It's Thomas McClendon.
And has that home study already been referred out to be started?
No, ma'am. We are looking at people who's living in the house, and then we are going to process,
Okay, so you're doing like a preliminary check to make sure there's nothing major that would automatically deny it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as far as Mr. McClendon.
Excuse me. Let me ask. What was the first name? Was it Thomas McClendon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nerti, did you have a text conversation with Jonathan McClendon about his service plan?
I can look at it.
Now, I just need to know whether or not you had one.
Yeah, I think I have one. And so many. So yeah, I will have to search for it. Go back to my text message. Yes.
And for clarification, have you received the signature page of Jonathan McClendon on his service plan?
No.
Okay, so hypothetically, if he signed it, he didn't send it to you, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, pass the witness.
All right, anyone else have further questions for this witness?
Just very briefly.
Okay.
Do you have a correct and verified phone number for Miss Lopez?
Miss Lopez? Yes.
Yes. And any communications that you have with her, you know her from her if they're from that phone number?
Yes, ma'am. We called and we
Okay.
text.
Okay, and her email address, the emails that you receive from her, they come from a specific email address and not any other email address.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, you know, you're aware that there are certain phone numbers and email addresses that belong to her, and that's how she'll communicate with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Anyone else?
Yes, I have one more question.
All right.
Ms. Nerthy, how many attempts have you made at all to go over this service plan with me or make sure it was signed?
First attempt was email. Second attempt is sending to the by mail.
To your knowledge, do you know where I reside?
Yes, I know. I know your home address.
You know my mailing address or my home address?
Mailing address and home address the same, right?
No.
I send it to
Are
your
you
home
with
address.
are you having knowledge of the fact that I received your mail correspondence?
I don't know that.
Okay. Have you answered any voicemails? Have you received any voicemails from me?
I haven't checked my phone. I had just been through a meeting before the court.
So it's safe to say that attempts I've made to contact you about my service plan have been thwarted by those meetings or whatever,
Your
prevented you from fixing.
I'm
I
going to
don't know
object to
that.
argumentative, and he's badgering the witness at this point.
Ma'am, has he ever sent you voicemails? I'm not talking about this morning. If you were in a meeting, has he ever sent you a voicemail?
No, ma'am. No, Your Honor. I just after a meeting. I haven't checked my phone.
No, I don't want to hear about a meeting. I want to
Yes.
hear, in the life of this case, has he ever left you a voicemail?
Yes.
Have you responded to those voicemails?
Yes.
Okay, go on, Mr. McClendon. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. On what date did you respond to any one of my voicemails?
It's about the you are leaving a voicemail about the visits. And so I talk about the visit with the family support worker. The voicemail was about your visitation with your kids.
Are you knowledgeable of a voicemail I left you about my service plan?
No.
So is it safe to say that that's the reason we haven't corresponded about the service plan?
No,
Your Honor,
because
I can object. That's asked and answered.
Sustained. I've heard enough about the service plan. You asked all the questions you wanted. Ma'am, let me ask you this. Do you have a phone number for Mr. McClendon?
yes.
Okay. Mr. McClendon, I'm going to order at the conclusion of this hearing, she immediately call you and you can talk about this service plan till the cows come home.
Does she have the correct number?
Initial permits. Let me take Ms. Williams is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram is with us representing the child. Mr. Hill is covering for Ms. Archer, representing the father, Mr. O'Brien, who I show is incarcerated in Potter County. Mr. Taylor is with us representing the mother, Miss Oakley, who is also with us. When I say Mr. Taylor's with us, his camera's on. He's not sitting there, so we'll give him a second to come back. All right, Mr. Taylor's now with us. That's everyone. I have no one in the waiting room. Ms. Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I call Rachel Peebles.
Okay.
And where is he currently placed?
He is with his great aunt and great uncle.
And how is he doing in that placement?
He's doing really well. He's receiving occupational therapy and speech therapy twice a week. So he's getting some good services and doing really well right now. So
Okay. Is he in daycare or pre-K or anything like that?
No, he's too young. He just turned 4.
Okay. And regarding the mother, has she started some of her services?
She has, yes.
She did a psychosocial evaluation, is that right?
Yes.
And she did an OSAR evaluation, is that right?
Yes.
And did the OSAR evaluation recommend Padre?
Yes.
And are we asking the court to order the Padre program for her services?
Yes.
And in regards to counseling, she's completed, let's see, it looks like you said 4 counseling. Has she done any since the court report?
I haven't checked. I think she was supposed to, but yeah, I haven't called back to Jennings.
Okay. And so she has not started her parenting class, is that correct?
The parenting is Padre, and she's attempted to, but hasn't yet.
Okay, thank you. And let's see, it looks like in regards to her drug screens, are we requesting any drug screens today?
Yes, hair follicle and UA.
And you sent her in January to do a hair follicle and she did not comply, is that correct?
Yes.
And are we asking anything regarding her hair at this time?
We're asking that she does not alter her hair for the remainder of the case.
Now, regarding the father, is he still currently incarcerated?
Yes, he is.
And have you had contact with him?
Yes, I go see him every month.
And what has he stated to you recently?
When I saw him last month, he's not sure when he's going to be able to get out. But when I do speak to him, he does voice that he wants to work his services when he gets out and get himself back together.
And did he talk about anything that he needed to work on when he was released?
Well, his main thing is getting stable housing. He's talked about going to doing the Faith City mission thing that they have for.
Okay, because that removal, he was living in a tent, is that correct?
I believe so, I think.
Now, let's see. Are we asking that placement continue with the caregivers?
Yes.
And do you believe it would be contrary to the child welfare to return today?
Yes.
And what do you believe that the mother needs to work on before that can be attained?
She needs to finish her services, and she also she needs to do a hair follicle.
Okay.
Really, because
And we just want to see if she's made any progress with sobriety. Is that correct?
yes.
Because it does appear that she has some positive, let's see, a hair follicle test in October. Is that right?
Yes.
But she has tested negative on her recent UAs. Is that correct?
Yes, she has.
And we're just wanting to verify that her hair follicle has gone down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Taylor. You're muted. You're still muted.
Yes, I apologize. I was having great difficulty over here with my computer, Your Honor. Lady, does the worker know where you're living now?
The questions are for Miss Peoples.
Yes. Okay. Do you know where Selena's living now?
Yeah, she told me she moved back in with her aunt.
Okay. And is she cooperating with you now?
She has been. It was kind of wishy-washy, but she's been mainly we text.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I have nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Hill, questions?
No, Your Honor. Well, yes,
thank you,
briefly.
Okay.
Briefly, I'm sorry. So I'm here for Ms. Archer. Devin O'Brien is her client. My understanding is he's in the Potter County Jail. Is that right?
Yes.
Have you made any services available to him, or is there anything he can do while he's there?
Yes, we took him a parenting packet several months ago, but his cell got there was a shakedown, so I'm bringing him another packet when I go see him this month.
Has he worked any of the services, do you know, that were on that packet that you took him a while back?
I don't know if he did.
Okay, but you're planning on making contact with him, I assume, this week or so?
Yes.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Pass witness.
All right, Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
Ms. Wiggins, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
Thank you. Mr. Taylor, any witnesses?
I would call Selena Oakley. Selena, you heard Ms. Peoples' testimony, correct?
Yes.
Is there anything about it that you wish to dispute?
Well, it's just everywhere I've been trying to go stay at, CPS follows me up to the door. And they don't follow me, but they come up to their door. They're threatening to like take the people's kids away if there's kids there, and giving some reason that I can't stay there. I feel like I'm being pushed to go into a homeless shelter, and I had a home when all this started.
Is she satisfied with you living with your aunt right now?
I guess it's all right. She's all right with it. I mean, I guess so.
Are you having a problem with it?
No, not. But there's a lot of kids here. There's not too much room, but
Sounds like you're doing better as far as your drug problem, and your numbers are coming down on the hair follicle, and you've been clean on your UAs for ever since October.
yeah,
So you're doing well in that regard.
yeah, most definitely.
Okay, and you're coming along well on your your classes.
Yeah, I'm almost done with my my domestic violence classes and my my counseling, but I have started my parenting classes. I actually started it last Thursday. I got to go to the one at 1 o'clock, and when I tried to log in at 5, it just left me on the waiting for a host to connect on the Zoom page the whole time. I talked to the lady about it, and we didn't know what happened, but it says I checked in. But I started my parenting Thursday, and then my substance abuse starts when my domestic violence courses go. So those ones are a little harder to catch, except for they only do it once on Thursday instead of twice.
You had one hair follicle request that you refused to take. Did you explain to Ms. People why you refused to take that one?
Well, really, it was because they use dirty scissors out of a pin cup. Like I don't ever see them as like, I don't see them wipe off the scissors or anything before they just pick it up out of this pin cup and chop the back of my hair.
Did you tell them that was why you were not wanting to agree to take the hair follicle?
I mean, at the time, I was flustered, and I guess I didn't mention that part. No, I said something about the way my hair looked. I guess I don't.
When was that?
The day I moved out of Bobby's, which was the 16th of January.
And so you understand they're counting that one against you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anything else you want to address the court about with regard to how you're doing?
Not so. I'm putting in a bunch of applications and everything. I just got data back on my phone, so I can get another job but
You hadn't found one yet.
no, I haven't gotten a call back yet. I've been applying everywhere.
Okay. All right, I'll pass the witness, Sean.
Ms. Wiggins, questions?
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Oakley, do you have transportation to do a hair follicle and UA today?
Yeah.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Hill,
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Ingram.
No questions.
All right, Mr. Taylor, did you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Hill, witnesses?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Continue department as temporary managing conservator. Continue placement as is. Child's doing very well in current placement.
Okay, all right then. I will then continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue Zyler's current placement. I'll order Miss Oakley to complete the Padre drug education class, which she's explained that she has to finish her other one before they start that one. I understand that. I will order Miss Oakley to both hair strand and UA drug screen by 4 p.m. today. Miss Oakley, if they try to use dirty scissors on you, just tell them that you want those sanitized before. And if they won't do it, I understand you're concerned. So I think they'll do it if you ask them to. I will order that Miss Oakley not dye or otherwise alter her hair during the pendency of this case. I'll set our next review hearing for May 20th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing. The parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of May 20 to see what time we'll actually have that hearing. Okay, we'll stand in recess on this case. I'll be back at 10.